Hey friends, everyone, welcome back to the next Lies of P guide. I've heard that some of you are just having a few problems with making decisions. So what is the truth now? What is a lie? And how can I shape my playthrough? Well, since I'm obviously the most accurate gaming expert, I've made a video for you today with all the decisions you can make in the game, so you'll know exactly what counts as a lie and what counts as the truth. So friends, feel free to give a thumbs up and subscribe. Of course, you can find all the Lies of P guides on the channel. Very important, at the beginning we can only lie. There's no other way, otherwise we can't get into the hotel. And in general, we should always accept all quests, so always press yes and basically do the favor. Only after we have handed over the quest item, like here, for example, with the crying woman, can we then choose between the options lie or truth. So always accept quests. It really has no impact at all. Yes, and then the first real decision is actually here with the crying woman at the window. When we return the doll to her, we can already choose between lying and telling the truth here. And as I said in this video, I really show you all the decisions, and of course I have categorized them. A sweet human baby is of course the lie. Saying it's a doll would be the truth in this case. The next decision we can make comes later in the game when we meet the penitent, namely right before the elevator in chapter 4, so just before chapter 4, so to speak. And she asks us, so are you a stalker? And here we can choose, show the stalker salute. That would be the lie. Or we can say, I'm not a stalker. That would be the truth. Alright friends, the next decision actually comes in chapter 4 when we meet Alidoro after taking the elevator up, meeting Alidoro, and then he asks us where he can go, where our residence is, and here we can once again either lie or tell the truth. The lie would be in the sense that we tell him to go to Winichi work. The truth is Hotel Krat. Keep in mind, if you tell him Venigni works, he'll actually be at the Venigni works, and you'll have to go there again to talk to him before he comes to the hotel. The next quest is Julian the Gentleman. Here you have to find his wife and return the ring to him. And here you have a choice. I've never seen anything like that. That would be the truth. She said it was love would ultimately be the lie. Yes, then we'll move on. Because in chapter 6 we can do something else, namely at the Hotel Grad. There we can talk to Antonia and tell her, there's nothing left of the painting would be the lie, and of course, you resemble the painting would be the truth. Just talk to her and then this option will appear. In fact, here we can also give the ring to the butler, so to speak. There's another decision to make here as well in this sense. Such a puppet does not exist. The truth would be to show the wedding ring. The lie would be the wedding ring we got from the gentleman if we lied. Yes, that's how it works with him, and that's the decision you have to make in this situation. The next decision only comes after we've taken down Champion Victor. And then it goes like this. First, we encounter Manus here, and he asks us, so what's the situation? What do you think is the cure? And here, of course, we can once again choose between lying or telling the truth. Yes, the remedy basically gives hope for a cure. The lie would be monster, and the truth would be the cure. Exactly. And then it continues, namely in the next section of the story. So we play a bit further and eventually we meet Alidoro here at the hotel, to whom we show Eugenia's gloves that she carefully made for him. We can then go back to the blacksmith and tell her about the gloves and what he thought of them. And Alidoro actually thought the gloves were really terrible, so that would be the truth in that sense. If we go to her and talk to her, we can tell her he thought the gloves were super cool, that would be the lie. Or we can say he thought the gloves were really crappy, that would be the truth. Yes, and then it continues in the next section, namely in chapter 9, where we meet the infected man here, and he gives us a letter for Belle, which we can then deliver to Belle. There, once again, we can decide what is the lie, what is the truth. In this case, if he has turned into a monster, that would be the truth, and that's what we can choose here. He turned into a monster. That's the truth. He was killed in a fight against a puppet. That would be the lie. By the way, if we lie here, we also get a record, yes, the next lie or truth is only available if we complete all the Trinity keys and then answer the phone here. There we will be asked whether we are a murderer. The truth would be yes, and the lie would be no, we are not a murderer. Yes, and you only get that after you've solved all the phone puzzles. If you have any questions about that or need a solution, feel free to check out the channel. Then we go back to Vinigi and he asks us if we can hear the sound he just listened to, and I couldn't hear anything, which was the lie, and I could hear something. Gimpetto is behind it. That would be the truth in this case. Then it actually only continues in chapter 10 at this point in the story, where you have to make an important decision together with Eugenie as a player. If we've received the decoded vessel from Alidoro with Vinigi, meaning we've killed Alidoro, can go to Eugenie and either tell her the truth that he was her older brother, or I think just say he was a stalker, which would be the lie in this particular case. If you tell the truth, you'll also get Eugenie's story. If you lie, you'll receive a record. So you always need 2 playthroughs. In chapter 11, we can actually meet the King of Riddles, provided we've opened all the riddle doors beforehand and talked to him. Yes, friends, this really only works if, as mentioned before, you've solved all the riddles beforehand so that you get the final key and can unlock the door here. He then asks us a relatively simple question, namely he wants to know, are you a puppet or a human? Of course, lying means saying human and puppet is the truth, so we can decide accordingly. Yes, in the end, it continues also in chapter 11 and the story moves forward from there. Because there are still a few decisions to make here, specifically with the good Sophia, and actually this isn't a real decision but more of a preliminary choice. So here you first decide what you want to select. In this case, letting her live would be the truth, while granting her salvation would be the lie. But this will also be relevant later on with the decision you make after the final boss, that is with Manus, and then when you fight him here, because once you've defeated him, he basically asks you how you decided earlier, and then depending on what you chose, you can either tell a lie or the truth. In my case, for me, it would have been a lie. I freed her from the cell. The truth is I granted her salvation. So here we're lying again. The final decision comes with Geppetto. Before you go here, you should already have the golden lie and gray hair. Depending on your playstyle, you now have to choose what to do to get certain trophies. It always depends on your playstyle, so look at what you played before and which decision you make, so you can remember it and do things a bit differently next time. Alright friends, those were all the decisions in Lies of P. I hope I was able to help you with this. Feel free to leave a thumbs up or even subscribe. You can find all the guides for Lies of P on the channel, so I'd be happy if we hear from each other again soon. Until then, take care, adios, and ciao ciao.